"Winnie, don't shoot." Those were the desperate players echoing from sidelines during the 10th Premier League showdown in 2019, just a moment before Vincent Kompany unleashed an unstoppable rocket that would shape Manchester City's title-winning season. But Kompany did not listen. He could not when destiny called. Captains don't ask for permission, they seize the moment when everything is on the line. Reflecting later, Kompany revealed his frustration at those shouts, saying that he did not come this far to be told when he could take a shot. That goal was not merely a stunning strike, it was a statement of belief, determination and fearless leadership, because that's what being a true captain is all about. It's more than an armband, it's about having the courage, the mentality and the relentless drive to carry an entire club on your shoulders when the pressure is at its highest. True captains are warriors, inspirations and living symbols of their team's spirits. But what exactly elevates a captain from good to legendary? Today we are diving into the compelling stories of football's greatest leaders, those extraordinary individuals who not only wore the armband but made it unforgettable. Welcome to Top 8 Greatest Captains of All Time. Italian legendary goalkeeper takes the 8th spot. More than just a captain, he was the soul of every team he played for, whether he wore the armband or not. He defines what it means to lead, to inspire, and to be an emotional anchor of the team. Let's get this out of the way first. Buffon did captain both Juventus and Italian national team, but even when he was not officially the captain, players still looked up to him in crucial moments. Because leadership is not just about a piece of fabric on your sleeve, it's about presence and character, and Buffon had both. One of the most iconic moments came in 2006, when Juventus were relegated to Serie B. Buffon stayed loyal, sacrificing trophies and big contracts, sending a powerful message: we fight and we return stronger. Juventus bounced back immediately, with Buffon at the heart of their resurgence. After that Calciopoli incident, Italy faced immense pressure, but still Buffon's leadership shone brightest during World Cup 2006. Buffon became a calming force, conceding only 2 goals through entire tournament. One was the own goal and other was a legendary penalty. Beyond stats, it was his mental strength that stood out. Many fans believe that after that World Cup, he was the one who deserved the Ballon d'Or in that season. Fabio Cannavaro, the official captain of Italian team, openly credited Buffon as the emotional general behind the scenes. Gigi is the kind of player who makes everyone feel braver. You look up to him and just know everything will be okay. That's not just a high praise, that's the essence of great leadership. In the 2017 Champions League final, even at 39 and even when losing to Real Madrid, Buffon tirelessly rallied his teammates, refusing to surrender quietly. Sadly, despite all his contributions, they lost the final, but he showed the determination and passion that inspired everyone. In the end, Buffon was leading by example. He lifted others, and whether celebrating victories or mourning defeats, he consistently showed his true leadership, and he is known as one of the most respected goalkeepers in the world football history. Seventh place goes to Italian legend, a Roma icon and a true embodiment of what it means to wear the armband, Francesco Totti. Totti became captain in 1998, as just 22 years old, still a kid by football standards. Most players were just starting out at that age, but Totti was already leading one of Europe's most passionate and pressure-packed clubs. And incredibly, he held the armband for nearly 20 years, 2 decades, 1 club and 1 shirt. In a football world dominated by money, transfers and chasing trophies, Totti stood firm. Real Madrid offered him everything: Champions League glory, global fame, a blank check, but he said no. He famously declared that winning 1 league title at Roma is worth 10 at Real Madrid. That's not just loyalty, it's a devotion. A captain chasing meaning over medals. Think back to 2006 World Cup, round of 16, Italy vs Australia, 95th minute, and a tie game. barely recovered from a brutal injury, Totti steps up for the penalty and scores it. Later he explains that he wasn't 100% fit, but for Italy he would go beyond the pain. That's who a true captain is. Back at Roma, his teammates felt that leadership. Daniele De Rossi, his successor and one of the most passionate players you will ever see, once said about Totti that he led by example, and that Totti never needed to yell. And Totti did not just lead on the pitch, he understood the fans as well. Back in 2015, he scored in the Derby della Capitale and ran to the crowd. He grabbed the fans' phone and snapped a selfie with fans. It went viral instantly, but it was not just for the moment. It was a message that he was one of them, and he always was. And then came his farewell in 2017, the Olimpico Pact. The entire football world is watching. As Totti walks off the pitch for the last time, people did not just clap, they cried. Fans, players, even opponents. Because they were not just saying goodbye to a footballer, they were saying goodbye to their captain. 25 years, one badge, no shortcuts and no glory hunting, just unwavering loyalty, ridiculous talent, and a leadership style that did not need a spotlight. It was a spotlight itself. In 6th place, we have a symbol of Real Madrid, Raul González Blanco, a true embodiment of leadership, loyalty and class. For over a decade, Raul was not just a player, he was the soul of Real Madrid. What made Raul exceptional was not only his goals and trophies, it was his mentality. He led by example and never needed to shout or hype up the team with theatrics. Instead, he was always the first at training, gave everything on the pitch and played through pain when needed. Even in the team full of global icons, Raul stood out. Zinedine Zidane said that he was a perfect captain. He led by example, he never asked for anything, but gave everything. When Raul spoke, everybody listened. When young Iker Casillas joined the first team, Raul guided him through Madrid's intense pressure. Casillas later reflected that Raul taught him everything, including what it means to be Madridista. He never gave up, never was satisfied, and always put the club first. Now think about this. Raul was a captain during Galacticos era, a team full of megastars, including Zinedine Zidane, Luis Figo, Ronaldo R9 and David Beckham. Yet Raul was the one they followed. That says everything you need to know about how respected he was, even in the dressing room, packed with legends. And here is another thing. Whenever football fans are asked, who's your favorite Real Madrid player of all time, one of the most common answers is Raul. Not just because of goals, not just because of the titles, but because of who he was, the way he carried himself, the way he carried the club. When he eventually left Real Madrid in 2010, he did not stir controversy. He gave an emotional farewell, thanked the club, the fans and the teammates, and left with complete dignity, just like he led the team. A leader not through volume, but through values. And that is exactly what made him great. Fifth place goes to a true legend of the 20th century, Franz Beckenbauer. Named Der Kaiser, he was not just a phenomenal footballer, he was a footballing commander. Elegant, intelligent and impossibly calm under pressure. Beckenbauer led not with shouts, but with his sheer presence. One iconic display of Beckenbauer's leadership came before he even wore the captain's armband. The 1970 World Cup semi-final, West Germany against Italy, known as the game of the century. It was an exhausting match that went into extra times. Midway through, Beckenbauer dislocated his shoulder. With no substitutions left, he chose to stay, finishing the match with his arm in a sling. That image of him bandaged and visibly in pain yet commanding is the epitome of captain's material. Fast forward 4 years. Now wearing the armband, Beckenbauer led West Germany to the 1974 World Cup title, facing Johan Cruyff's Netherlands, a team revolutionizing football with a dazzling total football. That was not just a final, it was a chess match. The Dutch came in hot, scoring within first 2 minutes, before a single German had even touched the ball. But Beckenbauer kept the team composed. They adjusted the game, they adapted and they won. It was a tactical mastery where Beckenbauer Beckenbauer outsmarted the chaos. West Germany's coach at that time once called him an extension of coach on the pitch. That's how much he trusted Beckenbauer's footballing brain. In fact, Franz was often the one pulling the tactical strings during the game. That's a mark of elite trust and leadership. But perhaps what truly sets him apart is what he did to the position itself. Beckenbauer reinvented the sweeper role, or libero. Before him it was just a defensive cleanup job, but in his hands it became something completely different. Creative, fluid and visionary. It was not just defending. He was starting attacks, gliding through midfield and dictating the rhythm from the back. Imagine a playmaker wearing number 5 and positioned behind everyone else. That was Beckenbauer. Gerd Müller, his teammate and legendary striker, once said that with Beckenbauer on the pitch, they always believed that they would win. He made them feel untouchable. Beckenbauer's leadership continued beyond playing. He coached Germany to another World Cup victory in 1990, becoming one of rarest people ever to win as both player and a manager, a testament of his unparalleled ability to lead and inspire. Fourth place goes to the captain, who is the embodiment of Barcelona's armband. He was not the most technically gifted in the full team of maestros, but ask everyone who was the soul of the golden generation and they will all say Carles Puyol. Puyol's greatness was not about what he did with the ball, it was everything he did without it. He was known for his tireless dedication, warrior spirit and unshakable loyalty towards the club. His iconic moments, there were many, like a goal line save not with his foot or his head, but diving chest first to protect an empty net. He was the example for everyone. When Real Madrid fans threw a lighter onto the pitch and Gerard Piqué picked it up to show to the referee, it was Puyol who took it from him, tossed it away and shouted, "Focus on the game. No drama, no protest, just authority." When Barca fans furiously protested Figo's return, Puyol was there to calm them down. When struck in the face during the heated moment, he was the first to de-escalate, even admitting if he was wrong. And when teammates celebrated provocatively in front of rival fans, Puyol sprinted over to remind them of the club's values. Gerard Piqué later said that Puyol is not just a teammate, he's a teacher, and Piqué owes him much of his defensive understanding. One of the most heartbreaking yet beautiful moments of his career came before the Champions League game against AC Milan. As the team lined up for a picture, Puyol made sure Ronaldinho, who was playing at Milan at that time, was brought forward for a photo, showing him respect as a former teammate and Barca legend. A small act, but deeply meaningful. And perhaps no moment defines his character more than 2011 Champions League final at Wembley. Barcelona had just dismantled Manchester United in one of their greatest performances ever. As the team prepared to lift the trophy, Puyol handed the armband to Eric Abidal, who had just returned from his battle with cancer, and let him lift the trophy first. Puyol simply said, "This is your moment." That was not just class, it was the leadership in its purest form. Even Pep Guardiola said that Puyol was the most important player he had ever coached in terms of what he brings to the group. Not just the team, but the locker room, the training ground and everywhere. He did not just lead by example, he was the perfect example himself. Third place is for the heart, the soul and the engine of Liverpool, Steven Gerrard. Gerrard's greatness was defined by his mentality, his leadership and his unwavering loyalty, especially in the moments that tested everything he stood for. Take Istanbul, 2005 Champions League final. Liverpool was down 3-0 against AC Milan at halftime. Most captains would crumble under pressure, but not Gerrard. His second half goal ignited an iconic comeback, arms raised to fans, and rallying teammates like a general. That night Steven Gerrard gave football one of the most legendary moments in the history. But Gerrard's greatness as a captain was not limited to Istanbul. Time and time again he showed up when it mattered the most. Jordan Henderson, his successor as a Liverpool captain, once said that Stevie had everything. He could lead by example, but he could also give you a real talk if things were not going right. He demanded the best from everyone. Jamie Carragher, who spent years alongside Gerrard, recalled that Gerrard carried the team for years. They were all decent players, but still Stevie was something else. He did not need to shout all the time. They just watched him and they wanted to give more. That's the essence of great captain, someone who makes others better just by being there. It's easy to forget how many times Gerrard could have left. In 2005, after a famous Champions League triumph, Chelsea came knocking with a massive offer. Mourinho wanted him, and money was there. The trophies were guaranteed, but Gerrard stayed. He later said that it did not just feel right to leave his club, his people. He could not do it. That level of loyalty is rare in modern football. And when times were tough, like in 2014 after an infamous slip against Chelsea, Gerrard never pointed fingers. He took the blame, he fronted the media and protected his teammates. That's what real captains do. They shoulder the weight so others don't have to. His former manager, Brendan Rodgers, said that Stevie was the best captain he has ever worked with. In the difficult moments, he was the first to ask, what can he do to help? That kind of leadership is priceless. Gerrard might not have lifted the Premier League trophy, but for Liverpool fans and all fans who recognize true leadership, he is one of the greatest captains in football history. Silver place goes to Paolo Maldini, the legendary leader of AC Milan for over a decade, and arguably the greatest defender football has ever seen. What made Maldini such a phenomenal captain was not just his defensive brilliance, it was his aura, his professionalism, and the fact that he always showed up. Andrea Pirlo summed it up perfectly in his autobiography. Paolo Maldini never had to raise his voice, he just had to look at you, and you would know exactly what he was thinking. That was enough. His former manager Carlo Ancelotti once described him as having the charisma of a silent general. He was not loud, but when he spoke, everyone listened. Maldini led Milan during the club's most star-studded eras, surrounded by giants like Kaká, Shevchenko, Nesta, Zedorf, Pirlo and Gattuso, and yet he never overshadowed anyone. He did not need to. His leadership was a glue that held it all together. When Baresi retired in 1997, many thought his shoes could never be filled. Maldini did not just fill them, he honored the legacy and elevated it. He did not try to be Baresi, he was himself, and by doing so, he became the face of a new Milan era. Another powerful captain moment came in 2003 Champions League final against Juventus. The match went to penalties again. Before the shootout, it was Maldini who gathered the team, calm, composed and clear. Milan went on to win, while Maldini was named MVP of that match. Years later, when asked about that moment, Clarence Seedorf said that Paolo Maldini made them believe. He reminded them who they were playing for. He brought the Milan spirit alive in a few words. And then there is his unmatched loyalty. A one-club man for 25 years, playing over 1000 professional games. No scandals, no contract drama, no chasing bigger paychecks elsewhere. He stayed even during Milan's toughest times, because for Maldini, it was always about the club's badge. And finally, at number 1, the symbol of pure, unapologetic leadership, Roy Keane. Keane was not just a footballer, he was the storm in boots. A captain who did not lead with motivational speeches or flashy gestures, he led with fire, fury and an obsession with winning. This was a man who demanded everything, from his teammates, from the club, and especially from himself. As Gary Neville once put it, if you gave the ball away, he would let you know. If you were not pulling your weight, he would let you know. He kept everyone on the edge, and that's what drove us forward. And it was not just in the dressing room. Roy Keane's leadership was felt on the pitch, in the heat of battle when it mattered the most. Take the 1999 Champions League semi-final in Turin. United were 2-0 down against Juventus, and Keane picked up a yellow card, meaning he would miss the final. Most players would have dropped their heads, but not Keane. Instead, he scored the goal that sparked the comeback, delivering such a dominant performance that Sir Alex Ferguson called it the most inspirational 90 minutes by any players he has ever seen. And that words coming from such a great manager who coached thousands of players. And that's why Ferguson gave him the armband. As Sir Alex said, Keane had the complete package. He was the best Ferguson ever worked with in terms of drive, determination and sheer influence. Then there was a tunnel moment at Highbury. Patrick Vieira was targeting Gary Neville. Roy Keane stepped in, eyes locked, voice cold, and said, "I'll see you out there." United won 4-2 in one of Premier League's most iconic matches. Vieira later admitted that Keane is a true leader and every team needs a player like him. Even Rio Ferdinand admitted, "You did not want to let him down. If you had a bad game, you were not worried about the press or the fans. You were worried about facing Roy in the dressing room." But here is a part that people forget. Keane could ball. Rio Ferdinand also said that everyone talked about Roy as a leader, the aggressive guy, but technically he was top class. Passed the ball with both feet, scored goals, dictated games. He had literally everything, and this aspect of his game was slightly underrated. Roy did not care about popularity or media games. He just wanted to win and wanted everyone around him to want it just as badly. Ultimately, what made Roy Keane great was not just the tackles, shouting or trophies. It was the standard he set, the fear he inspired, the loyalty he earned, and the fire that never went out. What an incredible list of captains. So who do you think was the greatest captain on this list? Or maybe your pick did not make it in, because let's be honest, the list of legendary captains is so deep, we could easily make a part 2, or we could easily make a list of current captains. Do you want to see it? If you have got the name in your mind, drop your comments down below. We would love to hear your take and maybe feature your suggestions in the next video. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe on the channel and join us on this journey through football's greatest stories. Thank you for watching and we will see you in the next one.